What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Fire Sports Takes podcast. Let's recap day one of March Madness. Boys, there's no two ways to go about it. I've been getting eviscerated. We're currently halftime of BYU Texas, and UNC VCU is about wrapping up. USF, yeah, they let me down. Isaiah Newton played his heart out, man. That guy, if he has another year of eligibility, he should be making a lot of money in the NIL market. I know he's a senior, so I don't know exactly what his situation is. I'm sure he'll appeal for one. USF doesn't come back in that game and make it even close without Isaiah Newton being the only person that showed up. I don't understand USF just living and dying by the three in the second half when they made only four of them. Will Ennis should have stayed in Division II. That guy 0 for 11 from three, your leading scorer, he was awful. The fact that USF was even in this game with a few minutes to go, when Louisville shot 52% from three and USF shot 12% from three, is a testament to just how good this USF team was, and they got let down by their leading scorer, who just had the worst shooting night of his entire career. But USF, Isaiah Newton, if that guy has one more year of eligibility, I kid you not, potential Wooden Award contender. If he has another year of eligibility, I'm not sure what his situation is, but he was unbelievable. I can't believe Will Ennis, man. How do you go 0 from 11 from three? And then Pinion in the second half, he just refused to. They were just the last few possessions of the game. They're just hucking up threes. And then they did backdoor cover, which was huge for the program. Troy sucks. Garbage. Worst team in basketball. And I got to tell you, Nebraska did look really, really impressive against a Troy team that was good against quad 1 and 2 in the regular season. And it wasn't Nebraska's defense that was ever a worry, although I did think Troy would do a little bit better offensively than 47 points. But it was Nebraska's offense over the last month and a half of the season that's been lackluster compared to what they were in like January and December in the non-conference. But they were unbelievable today. I mean, what did they shoot from three? 36%, 14 of 39 from three, and Samford just couldn't miss. And Troy's defense was awful. Like, the dude hit 5 threes, and then Troy's leaving him open in the corner. Makes zero sense. He was incredible. Nebraska's offense seemed to be clicking on all cylinders, which wasn't the case for them going into the tournament. Let's see if they can do it now against a team like Vanderbilt, against some power conference opposition. But if Nebraska's offense is flowing the way it was against Troy, and also on the glass, man, how many offensive rebounds did Mast have in this game, dude? I guess he only had 2. Am I an idiot? I swear he had more than that. I swear he had more than that. Especially in the first half. It was unbelievable. Yeah. Good win for Nebraska. I might have been a little bit too bearish on them, as VCU has cut the lead to 6. And knowing the way I've gone today, that's going to turn into a loser. High Point, Wisconsin. High Point pulling off the upset, and Chase Johnston, excuse me, was incredible. Chase Johnston, I was wrong about that guy. Chase Johnston played 22 minutes. He barely played more than 20 minutes all regular season, but they fed the hot hand, which they should have done. He had 3 threes. He was 3 for 3 from 3 in the conference championship game a couple of days ago. 4 for 6 from 3, including his first 2-pointer of the game. But High Point just wanted this game more than Wisconsin did. I feel like they were more aggressive on the glass. They had 13 offensive rebounds to Wisconsin's 6 offensive rebounds. Wisconsin had 10 turnovers. High Point forced 18 turnovers. They just wanted it more straight up. They out-physicaled, they out-hustled, they played more aggressive, tenacious basketball than Wisconsin did. And if I'm Arkansas, I'm very excited because Wisconsin's a team that has some really, really good wins. I don't see High Point extending this streak for another game because Arkansas plays aggressive basketball. They're not going to get out hustled, out rebounded with Brazil down low, who's playing some of the best basketball of the season. I think High Point, really, really good win. They'd get the 12-5 upset. They were one of the most picked upsets in the first round. Arkansas is a different beast. They're not Wisconsin. And Arkansas's supporting cast for Darius Acuff has been playing out of its mind, whether it's DJ Wagner. Malik Thomas has really been awesome over the last few weeks of the season as well. Oh my gosh. Billy Richmond off the bench, or Billy Richmond not off the bench, but he's been incredible. I don't think Arkansas drops this game to High Point. They're playing too good right now, but High Point just out hustling the Wisconsin Badgers in what is a really, really embarrassing loss. Shout out the High Point Panthers. What a W. What a W. What other games happened here that I missed? McNeese Vanderbilt. It looked like McNeese was going to pull it off because they were playing their style of basketball against this Vanderbilt team. They were turning them over. Like, I don't know what the final number was, but it really just came down to Tyler Tanner, his shot making down the stretch. He hit a couple of clutch threes, and then they were lights out from the free throw line as well down the stretch. Vanderbilt was 17 for 20 from the line. It seems like they didn't miss one in the fourth quarter, in the last 4 minutes of the game. But McNeese was doing the thing. Like, they had... Oh, well, never mind. I thought they turned it over. Oh, yeah, they had 13 turnovers, Vanderbilt did. McNeese forced 13 turnovers. Like, they were doing what they do, and that's create turnovers, but it just wasn't enough. Their shot making just wasn't as good, and they weren't as good on the interior as well. Okereke and McLaughlin both had 8+ rebounds like that. So they just didn't have the size, which I said. McNeese doesn't have the size. Vanderbilt's going to body them down low, and that was ultimately the difference. No second chance opportunities. That's a lie. That's a lie. No, that's not a lie. No second chance. Vanderbilt. They had 28 defensive rebounds as a team, so they were just closing out defensive possessions and forcing a lot of miss. But McNeese did hang around, and I thought they were going to pull it off, but it's just too clutch down the stretch for Tyler Tanner and company and the Vandals and Duke Miles, and yeah, they were just too good down the stretch. What else happened here, chat? What else am I missing? TCU Ohio State. Boys, I was at court this morning, and I didn't get to watch the beginning of this game. I only turned it on in the second half. Didn't really I was not locked into this game. I was locked into USF and Florida. I think TCU in the final 4 minutes just started to bang down the stretch, and that's what got it done for them. Really, really entertaining ending to this one. Duke almost losing to Siena was crazy. They just did not come out to play. Like, Duke was totally sleeping for the first, I don't know, 25, 30 minutes of this game. And you know who really was the catalyst for them? It was Caden Boozer, dude. Back-to-back games, and VCU's cut the lead to 2. What the fuck? Back-to-back games, Caden Boozer was the energy that this Duke team needed. In the ACC championship against Virginia, he was awesome. And then against Siena, he was the only one that was really showing up. He had like 15 in the first 30 minutes of this game. He was the one keeping Duke in this game. And then obviously their defense was just suffocating in the second half. Also, Siena just refusing to sub anybody in until there was 1 minute left in the game is psychotic. That's psychotic. And I think that's eventually what cost them is their lack of depth. They just got tired and they weren't making shots the way they were making them in the first half. They scored 42 on a Duke defense. It's one of the best defenses in the country and has only allowed 80 2 times this year. And they scored 40 in the first half. So they were on pace to score 80 for the third time against this Duke team. Siena was. But then they just didn't have any subs. They didn't sub anybody until there was 2 minutes left in the game. But then again, Caden Boozer, man, he was huge for this Duke team. They don't win this game against Siena. They get upset if it wasn't for Caden Boozer. And if they're going to get guard play like him, he's not what Foster was defensively. But in terms of running the offense, it seems like he's found his stride. He had 15 in the first 30 minutes of this game. He was their best player for a little bit. And then obviously Cam Boozer picked it up. He was awesome on the glass and on the defensive side of the ball as well. Yeah, he had his 20th double-double of the season. I think Duke's going to be just fine, but they just came out sleeping against this Siena team, and they were still able to pull off an ugly W. Arkansas and Michigan State just absolutely handling business. And I will stop it now, and I'll come back after all these night games are over. Yeah. All right, what a collapse from North Carolina, ladies and gentlemen. Seriously, unbelievable. And you know I had them 2.5. You know I had BYU to cover. You know I had St. Mary's to cover. What a disastrous first day. Seriously. What a disastrous first day. But VCU might have a guy in Terrence Hill Jr. who could take this tournament by storm. And VCU has a knack for making the Final Four and going on deep runs as a double-digit seed. And they got a guy in Terrence Hill who led the country in bench points and absolutely took over this game down the stretch. The Tar Heels had no answer as Terrence Hill led VCU to the biggest comeback in the first round in NCAA tournament history. And this sets them up now with the matchup against not Illinois, is it? Let's see. Here, we'll go through all the Saturday matchups too. Why not? Yeah, it is Illinois. And Illinois is 10.5-point favorites. Yikes, bro. Illinois did look really impressive in the second half against Penn. They just blew them out. They were up by 30. The night games were not that good. The closest one we had was Kennesaw State and Gonzaga. Really, the early games are what delivered here for the boys. It was the early games that I kind of went over already. But what a comeback from VCU. What a comeback. And what a collapse from North Carolina. Carolina fans are calling for Hubert Davis's head. As far as A&M goes, really shocking win. I think overall this was a really, really good first day for the SEC because I did not think they were going to do that good in this tournament. I thought they were really, really fraudulent. But you had a team like Texas that was on the bubble. Bubble beat a good BYU team led by the #1 overall pick, and they were in control for pretty much the entire game, wire to wire, even though AJ DeBansa had 35. Or no, he just had yeah, even though he had 35. Sorry, I'm a mistake. Vanderbilt picked up a dub. They didn't get upset. It was all the Big Ten teams that were getting upset. Yeah, it was really just Wisconsin. It was the Big Ten and the ACC that were getting upset today. Really good showing by the SEC. A&M picking up a big W. Texas picking up a big W. They avoid any major upsets, other than Georgia, who got run out of the gym by the St. Louis Billikens that I've talked about ad nauseum now. They're a very, very dangerous ball club. But let's go through the Saturday slate now since we have the round of 32 matchups. St. Louis at Michigan. They haven't dealt with size down low all season. The Billikens haven't, like Yaxel and Mara. So that does worry me from a defensive standpoint. But if Michigan was hot the way they were against Georgia, or St. Louis is hot the way they were against Georgia, they can dominate this game. St. Louis, Michigan State, USF shot 12% from three, and Louisville shot 52% from three without Michael Brown. Michigan State's way better defensively on the perimeter, and Louisville in the second half of that USF game was really struggling to break their press. I think Izzo and Michigan State, who dominated North Dakota State wire to wire, are in a really good spot here to dominate this Louisville team with Michael Brown or without him. I think they don't really fall off that much. Like they beat Miami at the end of the regular season without Michael Brown. They've won games without him, and they just beat a really good USF team. But again, USF really just couldn't shoot any threes. Their leading scorer, Wes Ennis, went 0 for 11 from beyond the arc. Michigan State has one of the best defensive guards in the country. In Fears, they have good size down low with Cohen Carr and Jackson Kohler, one of the best defensive teams in the country. I think Louisville got lucky, and it was just a really bad shooting day, the worst shooting day of the season for USF, and they still barely scraped by. I think Michigan State dominates this game. I think they could win by double digits. TCU Duke, excuse me. Sorry, boys, my brain's all rattled. I think I said Isaiah Nelson. I think I called him Isaiah Stewart or something stupid when I was going on my USF rant. I called Wes Ennis, Will Ennis. My brain's scrambled over the past few days. It's been a crazy couple of days. I've gotten a million views over the last week. It's been an incredible couple of weeks for the program with NFL free agency and March Madness. Seriously, like the support has been unreal. This thing's going to the fucking moon, and we're really starting to see some traction. And I remember when I first moved in with my parents in May, I was doing some math, May 2025, like, okay, this is the rate of followers that I'm growing by. And if I keep this rate, I should be at like 5 million followers in like 5 years or something. Or I think it was a little bit like 7 years, 5 million followers. It was like 3 years, 100K, 4 years, a million or whatever. And to stay at that rate at the time I checked it, 365 days from that time, I would have needed to be at like 6,000. I'm close to 5,000 now, and we still have 3-4 months to go to maintain that rate of growth. And I've gained 1,000%. Like we've grown 1,000% over the last 28 days. So the boys have been fucking buzzing, and my brain is a fucking mush right now. So excuse me, I'm not gonna give you guys the most accurate recap, dude. Like going live every day, like I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm not trying to be a pussy, like, oh, woe is me. It's just like my brain is literally just all over the place, scattered, just players, numbers, analytics, chat, staring at LED lights for 24 hours. Like it's all over the place. And I keep getting restricted on TikTok and I don't even do anything, but it's whatever. Duke, TCU. I like the Blue Devils in this game, but I think 10.5 points is a lot. And Duke, I don't think they're going to start out as slow as they did against Siena, especially against a TCU team that has some really, really good wins. And they can bang down low with Cam Boozer. I just don't think they're skilled enough on the perimeter to go with Caden Boozer, Sarr, and Evans. But TCU does have some really good wins. They beat Florida earlier in the year. They beat Wisconsin. They're a team that Duke can overlook, and I don't think they will overlook because they almost made that mistake against Siena, and it was almost embarrassing for John Shire. I think they're going to be ready to go. The way John Shire usually does have this Duke team ready to go in big games. And they're just way talented. I don't know about 10.5. Again, I think I'm done gambling. Like if I run out of my DraftKings account, that's it. That's over. But yeah, Texas A&M, Houston. Houston 9.5 point favorites. A&M scares me now because they weren't missing and they were creating a lot of turnovers. I think defensively it was more just St. Mary's stinks and St. Mary's was playing soft European basketball. I think Houston wins this game. 9.5 is a lot of points though. Texas Gonzaga. I think Texas is playing really, really good ball right now. They're sharing the wealth. Their big man, the white boy, was all over the glass today against BYU, who does have a decent big in Keita. So I think Texas can upset Gonzaga here. I hope they do because I don't have Gonzaga going past this round. So like I would gain so many points in the aggregate if Gonzaga loses this round. VCU, Illinois, again, I mentioned it briefly. I think I like Illinois. Nebraska, Vanderbilt, I like Vandy all day. And then I think Arkansas blows out Heisman. Now, Arkansas looks so locked in today. They look like one of the best teams in the country. So yeah, that's a Saturday preview briefly, and that's a round one recap. I'll have full round of 32 and first round recap or in a second day of the first round recap on Monday's episode. But my brain is so spent. So I'm just going to talk to you guys about court today. I went to court for a speeding violation. I got there at 9:30. Earlier than that, 9:15. They didn't start speaking to the people that were there for traffic court at the time they were supposed to be there, on the day they were supposed to be there, until what, like 11:30. So more than 2 hours after the time we got there, we weren't allowed to have our phones in the courtroom. So I was sitting there staring at the walls, surrounded by, it wasn't just traffic court, mind you. There were guys around me that were like breaking and entering, DWIs, which I guess is traffic court, but like these were real criminals. And there were guys like I moved over because there was not a lot of room for people to sit, and these two people came in, and I moved over to give this guy and I think his girlfriend, I don't know what the relationship was, room to sit. This dude would, I kid you not, for 2 hours he sat next to me, smelled like shit, by the way, and he did not stop just tweaking. Like he was constantly moving, constantly scratching. The only time he wasn't is when he was fucking sleeping. There was another lady today that showed up there. She got held in contempt of court because she showed up hammered to the courtroom. Are you fucking serious, lady? What are you doing here? How are you going to show up wrecked to the courtroom? Not only that, but with drugs on you. 15 days contempt of court for being hammered in court. What the fuck is wrong with some of these people? And North Carolina's got to fix their system, man, a little bit, because there was a guy that was there for breaking and entering. And the woman whose house he broke into was not only in the same courtroom, they were sitting a row apart. These people should be separated. She's the victim. What the fuck are we doing here? It was really unbelievable. And then I get up to the stand and I'm defending myself because I didn't do anything wrong. It was a traffic violation. The cop never got me speeding on a radar because I wasn't speeding, number one. Two, he wasn't even in his car at the time where I did my infraction. So I was going to body him either way. He didn't show up. But the guy goes, I can't. I was like, I plead guilt. I'm going to plead not guilty. I want to defend myself, blah, blah. Like, okay, maybe we can get you in today. What the fuck do you mean, maybe you can get me in today? I'm here right now. At the time I'm supposed to be here. What do you mean? You understand there's basketball on all day, fucking brick. So I got to reschedule. I got to go back to court. So here's some things I would recommend. Sit in the most front row possible that you can if you go to a North Carolina court, because that's how they do it. They were sorting it. You were going up to the judge by what row you were in after they figured a bunch of things out. Well, the DA was a fucking brick. Whoever the DA chick was, she was a brick. took forever to do the paperwork with the lawyers. That's why we were there for 2 fucking hours. She was going so slow. Even the judge was getting fed up. And then bring a book or bring a Sudoku or a crossword. Bring fucking. So next time I'm going, I'm bringing books. I'm bringing a whole lot of shit, okay? Because I can't fucking sit there for 2 hours and just think like, am I gonna be able to make? Am I gonna miss March Madness? Am I gonna be here all day? And the people surrounded me, chat. They were talking about like, oh, this judge is a prick. Oh, I've seen that lawyer in here before. Oh, the last time I was in here, da 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 da. Like usually it goes way quicker than this. What do you mean usually? What do you mean you know the lawyers? What do you mean you remember these lawyers' faces? You're a regular here? They greet you. You're on a first name basis with the security guard at the door of the courtroom in North Carolina. If that's where we're getting to, you should probably, evaluate some of your life choices. There was this guy behind me bragging to the girl next to him about how many DWIs he's got. Literally bragging. I'm like, wow, the bar is really, really. The bar is way lower than you think for the average human being, man. It really is. I was surrounded by criminals for 2 hours, and you know where my mind was? Fuck, man. I hope my March Madness bets hit. And then I come here and my March Madness bets, none of them hit. I think I went fucking. I hit 4 of them. Yeah, man. Wild couple of weeks. The podcast is definitely not the greatest week for like podcast episodes, but nobody fucking listens to the college basketball episodes. People only listen for NFL. So we're gonna be adapting a new. Once NFL draft season picks up, I'm sure the episodes will spike. And like trafficking content over from the TikTok lives and the YouTube isn't, or and the just short form content isn't going that well. Like people just aren't listening to the podcast for college basketball, which is whatever. Even though I think it's good content. Like today's episode isn't the greatest, but when I'm really diving in, I'm giving you guys fucking good information for the most part. I tell you guys all the time, don't tail my picks. I tell you that too. I say, don't tail my bets. Don't tail my picks. So if you do, it's your own fault. I don't want to fucking hear anything. I also was promoting the Kalshi $1 billion bracket thing. Turns out Kalshi might not be the greatest company. And I kind of feel like a sellout now. But at the same time, I'm a small creator. I need money. But like, I don't know. I saw a few videos and people are talking about like Kalshi wasn't paying out people who won their bets. And I haven't gotten any money from them yet. So if I don't get any money from them, I expect some hate content being directed towards Kalshi for real if I don't get paid. But I think I will. I talked to the guy on the phone. He seemed chill. But apparently it's like unethical to use Kalshi because I'm promoting gambling to young kids. Dude, everything is fucking promoting gambling to young kids. Literally, I'm telling them to sign up for a $1 billion bracket challenge. That doesn't mean I'm telling them to go bet their life savings on the college basketball crown tournament. Like I'm not telling them to go bet their life savings on Siena. I'm telling them to fill out a bracket and have a chance to win $1 billion. But this guy's making me feel bad. I saw on TikTok, he's like, all of these sports influencers, shame on you if you're promoting Kalshi. Are they really that bad? Am I ignorant to how bad Kalshi is as a company? Like, I feel like you need to show proof to bet on, like proof of ID to bet on things. I don't know. I've never used Kalshi before, to be fair. So maybe I am ignorant to how garbage of a company they are. But either way, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Yeah, I gotta go to fucking bed, dude. My brain is fucking scrambled. I love you guys, man. WWW. I'll be live tomorrow on TikTok if I don't get restricted. So make sure you guys tune in. At least I'll be live before I have to go to work. So I'll be live probably from like 12 to 4. So make sure you guys hop over on TikTok. I love you guys, man. I'll talk to you guys on the next episode of the Fire Sports Takes podcast.